the Google SEO thing.
Oh, wow. This is a huge topic. How did it take us this long to get to it?
HouseFresh. By the way, I've never heard of this website before.
Me neither.
Potentially because Google's squashing it. This is a very well-written article.
Yeah, and this, I read some other stuff on the site. It seems great.
Cool. I actually want to use this site now.
Yep.
So hopefully you guys find it interesting too.
Yep.
This write-up is fantastic. It's really long. We're not going to be able to cover it all. You should go to the website, housefresh.com. This particular one is...
David versus Digital Goliaths.
Yeah.
Yep.
Incredibly well written.
But we'll give you the kind of the summary that is going to tell you enough to make you want to go read the article and find out how you are being misled. This is something that I have been aware of for a long time. It's something that I am aware is getting worse. It was the major motivator that made me ultimately say, okay, we need to build a testing lab. Yeah. So clearly it's something that I believe in very strongly, but hearing someone else express it way better than I could.
And dive really far into the intricacies of how and patterns and all this other type of stuff.
How product testing is dying.
Yeah.
And why.
And being stomped on its head while it's being buried at the same time.
So HouseFresh, a product review site that focuses on air purifiers, has published an incredible analysis on how a small set of large media publishers are gaming Google search by flooding the web with lazy listicles that recommend products that they have never even touched.
It's lazy listicles is fun alliteration. I would go as far as to say it's basically fraud.
According to HouseFresh, these articles are all extremely similar to one another, at least in part because they are all entirely based on Amazon listing information and marketing materials put out by the manufacturers. These articles are branded under well-known, seemingly reputable names like BuzzFeed, Forbes, Popular Science, and Rolling Stone, but they are sharply lower in quality and effort than most of their other articles.
To the point where it can be kind of jarring, actually.
And they talk through how this happened with large... One second. Yeah, with large media publishers acquiring the rights to these names and then leaving only skeleton crews in place to continue publishing a little bit of good stuff to keep the reputation going while just lazily dumping garbage, affiliate revenue maximizing crap down people's throats. While HouseFresh says that Google's product review updates generally improve the ranking of articles that actually provide independent information and thorough research, consumers looking to make an educated purchase are still having to wade through countless reviews from people who have never even seen the thing in person. And this is absolutely something that I've experienced, but something that I didn't dig deep enough to understand just how broken it is. There's this one air purifier that they kind of go into in the article because they tested it and it fundamentally doesn't work and is loud and is expensive. And they're just they're sitting there going, there is no way on this green earth that anybody who knows anything tested this and recommended it. And yet it tops all of these recommendation lists, and they basically dug into it and are like, oh, it's because it pays the most affiliate commission. And we've talked about this before. Remember I figured out why $80,000 area rugs exist? And it turns out it's because interior designers get paid a percentage of the total bill. Well, the higher the price, the better the listicle commission, because it's percentage based. So you're basically being misled to buy a more expensive thing, and it's disguised as editorial content. I mean, it's one thing if it is an ad. An ad's an ad, a properly disclosed ad, like when Miss Vicky's paid me to tell you about their zero trans fat, low in saturated fat, no preservatives, kettle chips. That's what the style of chips is called, right? I don't know. It doesn't... Yeah, kettle cooked potato chip. Okay, they didn't sponsor us. But the point is, when something is clearly disclosed, it's an ad. It's clear that these talking points are coming from the manufacturer. But these listicles are not. They're not disclosed. It's not clear what the relationship is, and it seems like editorial content. And some of the people publishing these, if they're people at all, or writing these rather, some of the people writing these, assuming they are people, are publishing so many of these that there is no feasible way that they have ever even laid hands on these products. And I've seen it before. I bought windshield wipers for my Taycan from one of these listicles that ended up not being compatible because they never actually tried it.
Yeah.
I made it compatible. Dan's into it.
Dan's very into that.
So much respect.
So let's go. But they weren't.
But like actually though.
So yeah, you need to go read it. Dan, can we get this linked in the description as well? This is really, really, really important. This is why we're building the lab. Because it is so hard to find good information anymore, and they lay out a really convincing and scary case for why it's going to get so much harder.
I genuinely don't think there's been very many articles, maybe even single digit, that are like more beneficial to go read instead of just listen to what we've said. There is so much information in this. It's actually
dense.
It's crazy.
Dense with 2 S's.
It's really long and it's very dense. Each individual paragraph is interesting. Like, actually go read it.
Yep.
And it actually really matters because
you need to send this to anyone you know who shops online, basically.
Or looks for basically any information.
Because it shows you just how easily gamed the system is. And HouseFresh doesn't even blame Google outright for this.
Yeah.
It's clear that this is a case where Google is in good faith trying to do the right thing and surface accurate information.
They talk about that, which is interesting.
But there's just
it's not working.
The avalanche of bullshit is just, it's burying any nuggets of good information because, and we know this from building the lab, testing products properly is really freaking hard. It's a ton of work. Oh man. We showed off the latest draft of Power Supply Circuit internally. And even internally, there's a lot of commentary on, for example, the AI voiceover that we're using and the kind of monotonous sort of scripted shots. And they're like, I don't understand the value of this. And it's like, whoa. This is completely different from anything we've done in the past.
Encyclopedia.
The value is not in the entertainment for this at all. It's just that we understand that consumers are going to look for information in video form, even though this really would be better off as an article, and an article will be available, but we understand people are going to be looking for this information in video. And if we look at what other similar power supply focused videos are doing in terms of viewership on YouTube, our production budget, our total budget for each of these videos would be somewhere between $2 and $60. So we're between a rock and a hard place. Obviously, we would love to use humans to do all of the work. And humans are doing a lot of the work. Humans developed all these processes. Humans are testing the power supplies. That's the meat right there. That's being done by skilled humans, right? We would love to use humans for everything and have a human host and have bespoke editing for every single episode. But if I were to tell you, okay, well, your production budget is $9, and I were to pay humans in such a way that we were able to survive on $9 of revenue, I'd be a monster.
Turk.
I'd be a monster. And then if I say, okay, well, this is net new work that nobody was doing before and actually creates additional jobs building these systems and doing all this testing, but this is the way to make it sustainable. You tell me I'm a monster because we're using an AI voiceover. And it's like, okay, well, now hold on a second. This is, in my opinion, a best case scenario for machine learning.
It just doesn't exist. We're not going to do it without it.
It can't exist.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not that it doesn't. It's that it cannot. It's not economically viable for us to do this the traditional way that we've done things. And I think...
there is a pretty good point brought up in Full Plane.
Yeah.
You have an unlimited budget because it's a tax write-off?
Thank you for that. There are legitimate concerns like that people have brought up. Okay, well, if we're doing it in Power Supply Circuit, then could that infect the other channels? That is the last thing I want.
Yeah.
It's not like
good. You don't want to listen to that AI voice.
No, not at all. I mean, if we can get to the point where Power Supply Circuit is averaging 100,000 views and we're taking on sponsors, and hey, have faith.
Yeah, sure.
And we're taking on sponsors.
I'm here for it.
And we're doing like huge affiliate revenue through it because people really value the independent testing. Then, yeah, let's build a proper channel around it. But we have to start somewhere. And right now, the meat of it is the testing, and we just need a vehicle.
Yeah. My only real notable take from it was that I don't think it should be you personally.
Yeah, I've seen people feel strongly about it both ways. It's about 50-50.
Interesting. The feedback that I have received directly, the like non-anonymous feedback that I have received, which I will now keep anonymous, but was all in alignment with that. But I mean, it was a very small portion of the company as a whole, so it's not representative.
It's both ways, as it turns out. And I think that I can't tell because the feedback form itself was anonymous.
Yeah.
So I can't tell who was
like
who.
Good and bad. You can't continue the conversation.
Seems like, based on the perspectives, like I don't know which individuals responded, but it seems like, based on the perspectives, that the lines kind of fall between departments.
Huh.
So some departments feel more strongly that like having it be Linus will make it feel less like someone whose job got taken by AI and more like Linus didn't have time that day.
Okay.
And then on the other side, it's, look, if we're going to be Uncanny Valley, can we at least just be Uncanny Valley with someone that is not a real person? And it seems like there's a clean line right down the middle.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I know. Zenol says, I'm confused LTT isn't using real voices. So again, our budget, our production budget for some of these videos, because we don't know what the budget is until we publish it and see how much money comes in, right? Our budget for these videos, based on what dedicated power supply videos are doing right now on YouTube, could be as low as $2 to $3. No.
It's not even, it doesn't make any sense.
No, and we need to get this data out there.
Even really it's not a business move. It's like
Ramultra says you could not do a video and promote heavily the written article. Yeah, that worked great for written media over the last 10 years.
Also, some people just will not read it.
Yeah.
Even if we're completely ignoring the business case, because these videos are going to make no money, but even if we completely ignore the business case, there are people that will not read an article, but they will watch a video. That is absolutely a thing.
Yep.
There's also people that are just never going to leave YouTube. There's been this consolidation issue. The HouseFresh article kind of talks about this. And there's been other people talking about this recently as well, where like the internet is turning into a very small, the whole surf the internet and check out all these different websites thing is like dead already. It's become a very, very small pool of websites that have all of the
even
traffic.
Smaller than you think.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the websites that you think are separate are actually owned by large publishers.
Yeah. So like it can be very hard when that's what you've grown up in or that's the practice that you've gotten used to. It can be very hard to get people off of that small group of websites.
Yeah.
So they're just going to want to stay on YouTube or whatever else. PFYCH, I don't know, Feich on Floatplane Chat said my younger siblings search for products /restaurants on TikTok.
So coming back to the plan to have these videos AI voiceovered, AI edited, because
throw them on TikTok.
The shots are all standardized. Because a power supply, that's why we started with power supplies. Because they're all fundamentally the same size and shape with fundamentally the same physical features.
Yeah.
So all the shots are going to be along sort of pre-planned movements. And then it is basically cut together with a template and then validated by a human editor.
Yeah.
That's it. And so we're already looking at, okay, can we do a shortened version of the script and then just dump it on TikTok? Dump it on Reels, dump it on Facebook. Because, I mean, at the very least, we want to be able to get real, valid information in front of people. And I think that
harder than ever.
There's going to be some compromises that we're going to make along the way, but the mission is a good one. And you know what? We might find out that this just is completely ineffective, and we've got to take a different approach, and we're going to be open to that. But we have to start somewhere.
In again, the non-anonymous feedback that I received that I will now forward as anonymous feedback, the people that I talked to would watch it actually, but they're not going to watch everything. I suspect the view counts are going to be really low.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't watch everything. That's the whole point of this. I saw one internal comment that was
sorry, to be clear, I'm not saying this to you as if this is a revelation to you. I'm more talking publicly.
I saw one internal comment that was like, this feels like a content farm. Yes.
Yeah. It's supposed to be every power supply
ever.
Yeah.
And I don't want humans working at the content farm.
Yeah.
I want humans doing the creative stuff, the cool stuff. But we need to have a result when someone searches for this power supply on TikTok, and that's a power supply that blows up or costs twice as much as one that's better. We have to address that. And on a $2 to $60 budget, we aren't going to be doing it with handcrafted human content. It's not going to happen right now. And it's not intended to be like popcorn viewing.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be entertaining.
It's supposed to be objective.
This is for the bottom of the funnel, where you are aware of computers and you have an intent to learn about computers, and you've decided to buy one, and you are choosing a particular component and you want to learn about it.
Or it's been recommended to you. Like, say you go to PC Part Picker and you pick one of the recommended builds and you're like, I've never heard of this power supply before. You look at one of the videos, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it's cool. Now you have the confidence when buying the thing. And that's good.
Kind of like what I think it was Casey Neistat said about the Vision Pro, that this is the worst Vision Pro. So the first video we upload will be the worst video, in terms of the uncanny valley of the AI voiceover, in terms of the choreography of the shots. It's gonna take time.
Yeah,
it's gonna take time. So Black Smoke Rises says, it sounds kind of lame, but I see the plan. Yes.
It's not supposed to be super exciting content.
It's not. It's supposed
by design.
It's supposed to be what we could make for under $60. Yeah. And remember, it's not even under $60. By the time Lucas tests a power supply, we are underwater on a $60 budget.
Yeah.
Very significantly. So it is
are you counting
effectively a negative budget.
Don't even worry about the human time. Are you counting the like time on that machine?
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Just do the time on the machine.
I forget how much that thing even costs. But
yeah, and then you have to get updates to it.
Oh no, I'm not factoring. Hey, don't forget about the square footage, that whole setup with the environmental chamber. Don't forget about the environmental chamber.
Literally just the space.
It doesn't just run off of the chroma.
Heating
no
it,
other cost
cooling
other
it.
than space.
Yeah.
Yeah, floor space.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Don't forget,
already.
we're going to have to buy a lot of these power supplies.
If you owned a parking lot, how much more profitable?
So much more.
Like your
one
ROI
parking stall.
An ROI on one parking stall.
Yeah.
20 years.
Like, that's the thing, guys. You gotta try to look at what we're doing and see the bigger picture here. This isn't
a business move.
No, this is not a profit-taking endeavor. Yeah. If we can turn it into something profitable, we will. If we can take this data and we can find nuggets that turn into LTT videos that we can get sponsors, of course we're going to do that. It's going to feed into the businesses that make money.
That would happen if we made the videos or not.
Guys, the intent here is we understand this is going to take time, but we are trying to build something. We're going to make some mistakes. It's going to take some time. We're going to have to learn some things, but that's part of the journey, right? Like I can't help myself. You got to dream big, You got to dream big.
I heard there was I tried to invite you to, I think you accepted it, whatever, doesn't matter. But I went to invite you to a meeting next week to talk about like the launch of the labs website. And I genuinely don't remember who, but someone told me that like, you had talked about it with them at some point in time and you were all excited about like what we can do next. And I was like, yeah, They're like, what do you mean? I was like, this is just how it works. it's that's good, you know. But like, I would be more stunned if you were like, this is the end. I have no more ideas. I'd be like, oh no.
Oh yeah, no.
What happened?
Oh dude, my idea doc is
Extensive.
yeah,
Girthy.
bulging.